Welcome to Michigan's WW1 Centennial News Report for October 2014. I'm your host, Dennis Kupinski. Grass Lake Area Historical Society. In Grass Lake, they take their history seriously. There are 3 projects going on: the Coe House Museum, the Interurban Project, and the Michigan Military Heritage Museum. We're going to explore all of these during this program. During the early part of October 1914, the French army became involved in a battle with the Germans. Both armies were trying to outflank each other while they were moving towards the sea. The battle was known as the Battle of Arras. During the later part of October 1914, the First Battle of Ypres, or also called the First Battle of Flanders, was taking place. The battle highlighted the problems of command and control for both sides, each side missing opportunities to obtain a decisive victory. The battle was between the Germans and the British. The battle was also significant because it witnessed the destruction of the highly experienced and trained British Regular Army, known as the Old Contemptibles. They were replaced by fresh reserves who were inexperienced. On October 5, 1914, Sergeant Joseph Franz and Corporal Louis Quinault of the French Escadrille VB-24 were the first aviators in history to shoot down another aircraft with gunfire, downing a German aircraft with machine gun fire.
They were summoned from the hillside, they were called in from the glen.
The Grass Lake Area Historical Society consists of 3 projects: the Coe House Museum, which is a turn-of-the-century farmhouse, the Interurban Project, which is a 1914 interurban car, and the Michigan Military Heritage Museum.
And although your heart is breaking, make it sing this tune.
The Coe House has been the home of the Grass Lake Area Historical Society since 1972. The Coe House was constructed in 1871 for Henry Van Winkle, who owned and operated a hardware store and a farm equipment dealership in Grass Lake. In 1953, Archie and Marta Coe bought the home, and it was from Mrs. Coe, by then a widow, that the Grass Lakes Area Historical Society bought the house in 1972. The architecture of the home is Tuscan vernacular. It has been furnished to represent a typical home of the Victorian era. A variety of events are scheduled throughout the year, including flea markets, craft show, music, and a heritage celebration. The Coe House Museum is an excellent example of turn-of-the-century living. Soldiers from World War I would have come from a farmhouse like this. One of the most unusual features of the Coe House is the brick outhouse. You've always heard the expression, built like a brick outhouse. Now you have seen one. The Interurban Project, Car 29. She was ordered in February 1913 by the Michigan United Traction Company to be built by the St. Louis Car Company. William A. Bowen of Gray Tower Road in Grass Lake was working with his partners to expand their emerging interurban railway. She would be part of this expansion. She is a combination passenger baggage car and was one of the first steel-constructed interurban cars in Michigan. Part of a group of 6 sister cars, she is one of only 2 known to still exist. Her sister car is number 28 and in the restoration process at the Illinois Railway Museum in Union, Illinois. The cars were delivered to Michigan in April 1914. These combination cars were primarily used on runs to Lansing, Kalamazoo, and Detroit. There are several major projects being undertaken by the restoration team. First, the wooden roof had been attached decades ago to protect the original canvas roof, which made it useful as a cottage. This had to be carefully removed. It was discovered that the original roof was in serious disrepair. Another project for the restoration team were the windows. which appear to be leaded arched windows, but which are actually cast glass panels approximately 7 feet long. These stretched over conventional sized windows that are able to be raised between the two of the cast panels to allow for ventilation for the passengers. Each cast glass panel tops 2 operable windows and serves to enclose a track for them, so special care had to be used whenever anybody worked on them. These cast glass panels were irreplaceable. Behind the Coe House Museum is an interurban waiting station, just like the one that Grass Lake used to have 100 years ago, waiting for the interurban trains to come through and pick up and drop off passengers. Michigan's Military Heritage Museum and the Grass Lake Area Historical Society have partnered to establish a museum to honor the ordinary soldiers who served American Armed Forces. Extensive work is underway to present military-focused exhibits and educational opportunities. This promises to be an exciting addition to the Historical Society's contribution to the Grass Lake community and the state of Michigan. The museum has a number of interesting displays. One of them, a tunic from a North Russian Expeditionary Force soldier who served in Russia from the fall of 1918 until the spring of 1919. Also, a World War I pilot's footlocker is on display. Scott Gurridge has been instrumental in the formation of this museum. The museum has on display an American service flag, unusual because it shows 3 sons in service. The 2 blue stars represent sons who are in service. The gold star represents a son who gave his life. They also have photographs of Camp Waterloo, a prisoner of war camp during World War II located about 5 miles away from Grass Lake. They also have a patch from the guard unit that was stationed at the camp. If you have any information about Camp Waterloo or a relative who served there, please contact the Grass Lake Area Historical Society. One other item of interest is a World War I naval tunic and hat. The tunic has 2 overseas chevrons, which represent 1 year of service. The tunic is from a naval aviation unit located along the French coast. The Grass Lake Area Historical Society has done a nice job in combining 3 elements for the World War I Centennial. Home life, represented by the Coe House Museum, which represents farm life in America around 1900, interurban transportation by Car 29, and also Michigan Military Heritage Museum, which represents soldiers' uniforms and equipment during World War I, World War II, and later.